Hello and Merry Cheltmas, everybody. Our sponsors, Mansion Bet, wish you a Merry Cheltmas, and they'd also like to keep you up to date with one of their main offers. And that is you'll get paid out in full if you have a bet in the first race each day at the festival and your horse finishes second. Welcome to the Winners Enclosure. I'm pleased to be joined by Chris Dixon. And Chris, they're really anxious times, aren't they? The day before the festival's about to kick off, and a lot can go wrong for owners and trainers last minute.
It absolutely can, and further evidence of that this morning with Altior and the declarations coming through for the Queen Mother Champion Chase, and he isn't a part of that lineup, which is obviously disappointing for all concerned, disappointing for racing fans as well. And even from this point on, things can go wrong. Scroll back 12 months and Chacun Pour Soi, he was absolutely fine until the morning of the race, and it all went wrong at that point. Until those tapes go up, you can't be absolutely certain. There's so many things that can go amiss up until that point, and then you've got to get through the race itself. So they are extremely anxious times, and the thing is, at this point, nothing can go wrong. Just the slightest thing that isn't really a problem in the grand scheme of things is a problem on a race day or a couple of days before, and so it's disappointing, and there might well be another casualty or two along the way in terms of not being able to run at the meeting just because of the nature of horses.
And two other really disappointing ones are obviously Energumen in the Arkle and also Time Hill in the Stayers. You know, desperately disappointing because they both provided real clashes, didn't they?
He did. I was really looking forward to Energumen Shishkin in particular as a clash to really look forward to this week. But as you say, the Time Hill Paisley Park one was another that looked like a tremendous clash on paper, particularly as Time Hill had taken the scalp of Paisley Park already this year. So again, disappointing for their connections. One thing that we're seeing with Cheltenham generally this year, alongside those few last-minute casualties that we've had, we're seeing the fields not fill up in quite the same way. And I think that is a result of, to some extent, owners not being allowed to go and watch their horses run. So a few of those social runners perhaps not lining up. And maybe the Irish not maybe scattergunning the races to quite the same extent because of the issues with staffing that they're going to have, and people, their staff having to self-isolate when they get back, which makes the whole operation more difficult. So I think a few things are coming together to make this a slightly different Cheltenham Festival, and it will certainly feel different. I'm lucky enough to be there for the first 2 days of the meeting working for Racing TV. It won't be the same, but it'll still be brilliant, and I'll still very much looking forward to it.
Well, the obvious starting point for us is the first race on the opening day, and that is, of course, the Supreme Novices Hurdle. And Mansion Bet prices suggest that Appreciate It is being well backed and is going to go off quite a short price favourite.
He's going to go off a short price favourite, and you can see why, really. He's done everything right, hasn't he? He's been a Grade 1 winner on his last 2 starts. And I think back to, either the first or one of the first preview shows or review shows of the weekend that we did here on the Winners Enclosure, Emma, back in early February. And we were talking about Appreciate It after that second Grade 1 victory. And we were both really of the opinion that, yes, he was a nice horse, he was going the right way, he had good form, but he wasn't exactly giving you the wow factor that day, as he had done over Christmas at Leopardstown. I think this horse is a real stayer, and I do just have a doubt that the Supreme Novices Hurdle is going to be a little bit too much of a test of speed for him. The rain that they had overnight into Monday will have helped him, softening the ground. It has, without a doubt, increased his chance. But there are other nice horses in this field, and for all I think he's a worthy favourite, I think he's a little bit too short.
Talking about the other nice horses against him, I don't think we disagree here because there's two I like, well, Metier and Soaring Glory. We'll start with Metier because I know you're keenest on him.
Yeah, I'm keenest on Metier. He's like Appreciate It. He's got very good hurdling form. He probably hasn't beaten the same calibre of rival along the way, but he's done everything right. I was really taken by his performance in the Tolworth last time out. Now, yes, the level of form in behind might not be that high, but the time compared very favourably with a handicap that wasn't too far away from it on the card. And if you judge him on that, then you can make him, in form terms, a horse that is well capable of winning a Supreme Novices Hurdle. I also like the fact that he is a horse with a fair bit of speed about him. I think his chance would have in a way, for all that a lot of his form has been on a really soft surface, I think better ground wouldn't have inconvenienced him, because I think he's quite quick, whereas it might have inconvenienced Appreciate It. But I think the thing with Metier is that he's got that pace, he's got a progressive profile, he's a younger horse by 2 years, and he might just have a little bit more progression in him. And I just think he's a big price in comparison to his main market rival. And I liked the way that he finished off his race at Sandown. How often have we seen horses this year at Sandown absolutely walking home on that hurdles track? He powered home, and I think that's the sign of a really good horse.
Yeah, I totally agree. Then you've got Bally Adam, who can make mistakes and obviously was behind Appreciate It last time. Soaring Glory is an interesting one, I think, to touch on, because I thought the way he travelled was quite eye-catching in the Betfair. It's a race that has subsequently, the horses that have then gone on to this race have got quite a good record in the race. I know he's got to improve. He won that of a mark of 133. He's 143 now. Appreciate It's 153, I think. But I don't think we've seen the best of him just yet.
No, I don't think we have. And interesting that they put the cheek pieces on him. It didn't look like a horse that was in need of any headgear to help him, but they maybe feel that is going to eke out a little bit more improvement, an improvement that would be required to go on and win this race if you look at the rating that he's on. But he's a horse that's going the right way. He's still open to a little bit more improvement. I just question a little bit. He seemed to thrive in that big field environment, didn't he, of the Betfair hurdle last time out. And he's into a smaller field. This is a different sort of Supreme Novices than what we've been used to. And that might not ideally suit him, but maybe I'm plucking at straws a little bit there to try and find reasons to prefer Metier to him. But ultimately, I just think Metier is the slightly better horse, but respect Soaring Glory's chance.
Yeah, I totally agree. They would be my two against the field. And whilst I appreciate It is a short price favourite for a very good reason, he just looks one of the skinnier ones of the week that maybe could just be taken on. Our race in focus this week is the Champion Hurdle. Okay, well, let's start with Honeysuckle, because she's just a phenomenal mare. She's won at the festival before, and I think it was undoubtedly a career best last time at Leopardstown.
I think it was, and the time was very good that day as well. And the thing that I've liked about Honeysuckle this year is that, particularly so at Leopardstown last time out, her jumping, which could sometimes previously have been a little bit slow. She was obviously very good. She'd never been beaten. But I always had it in the back of my mind that if she dropped back to 2 miles, jumping at Cheltenham, it might not have been quite slick enough. But she was very good in that department on both her starts so far this season. So I don't think that's really a concern. I was worried about her on drying ground over 2 miles at Cheltenham. This track is the speedier track of the two. Thursday and Friday, we get onto the stiffer new course, but the old course is more about speed. And that was a worry for me. But given the rain that we've had, I can't find too many problems with Honeysuckle, other than she's a short price in a deep race. And so I'm going to take her on, but she's a worthy favourite with a very good chance.
Come on then, what are you going to take her on with?
Well, nothing that exciting. I'm going for Epatante, who is the reigning champion, and she comes into this on the back of a disappointing run, but for which I think she would have been favourite. If she'd have turned up here, let's not forget she was 5-4 even money after she won the Fighting Fifth at Newcastle for this race. One disappointment at Kempton in a race where she got worked up in the paddock. She just wasn't herself, and the way that race developed at Kempton just didn't really suit her. I think there's been an overreaction to the disappointment of that run. And if she's back to the form that she was in at Cheltenham last year when she won this race impressively, then Honeysuckle is going to absolutely have to be bang on her A game. And even if she is, it's not absolutely certain to be good enough to beat Epatante. I think these are two very closely matched mares. And to be honest, if it had been really soft ground, as soft as it can be soft and bordering heavy, I would have gone Honeysuckle. On any quicker, good ground or quicker, I would have definitely been Epatante. In between, just a case of who's the bigger price, and Epatante is the bigger price, so I'm going for her.
We've also got Goshen that we should mention as well, because that was a pretty good effort. I mean, I don't think anyone could say other, winning at Wincanton last time. And obviously after what happened in the Triumph last year, which was soul-destroying for everyone connected, it's been some performance to get him back to where he is, and he looks also a big player.
He does. It's been a steady road to recovery, really, for Goshen, hasn't it? Since that real iconic moment of last year's Cheltenham Festival. A shame that incident was the lasting memory, really, of that festival for many. He'll always be, whatever Goshen goes on to do, that triumph hurdle and the drama of that will always be something that he's remembered for, and that last year's festival is remembered for. And having been very keen on him that day, I must admit, head were in hands for a good while that day, so far as Goshen was concerned, from my point of view. Since then, he's had those runs on the flats, and he didn't really fully sparkle, for all that he was running quite well. And then he was disappointing on his return to hurdling, but he was very much back at Wincanton last time out. I think he's going to need to at least reproduce that, perhaps better it. And giving the weight away to these mares is going to take a massive effort on his part, but I would love to see him do it.
So to summarise, you're very much in the camp of Epatante, and I'm going against you with Honeysuckle. But I know you don't think there's an awful lot in it, and it's one of those intriguing clashes of the meeting. Well, once again, let's just remind you of Mansion Bet's special offer for Cheltenham, and that is you will get paid out in full if you have a bet in the first race each day and your horse finishes second. Well, before we preview Wednesday's Champion Bumper, let's now hear from Mansion Bet's brand ambassador, and that is, of course, Brian Hughes.
My tip for the Champion Bumper is Kilcrut. I was very impressed with him at Leopardstown. He had a big reputation going into the race, and he duly obliged, winning a very good bumper very impressively. Obviously, the fellow Irish horse, Sir Gerhard, is obviously well thought of, and he's won his 2 races very impressively. But I was just very taken by the way that Willie Mullins inmate won his race, so I'd be sticking with him.
So Kilcrew, the selection of Brian Hughes there, and he touched on the fact that he was hugely impressive at Leopardstown last time. Chris, did you come to that same conclusion? I mean, visually he was, but some will say that maybe they feel he was a little flattered.
Yeah, and I think it's tough to say with absolute conviction, Emma, one way or the other. There's no doubt that he was very, very impressive. And again, this was something that we spoke about very early on in this series for the winners' enclosure. And it was clear at the time that he was going to head to Cheltenham with a massive chance in the Champion Bumper. Willie Mullins had won that same race that Kilcrew bolted up in that Grade 2 at Leopardstown with Appreciate It the year before he was sent off favourite and placed in the Champion Bumper at Cheltenham. So I definitely liked Kilcrew's performance. I was very much taken by it, but there is an element as you go back through it of the feeling as though he was allowed to be seen to maximum effect. The race did very much fall apart. They went a good gallop on very deep ground. He was able to carry on powering away in the manner of a very, very good horse, but you just wonder how quick they were going in behind. And, you know, ultimately, I don't want to be dead against him or anything, but I will look elsewhere.
Yeah, Willie Mullins and Gordon Elliott are the 2 that sort of farm this race. Between them, they've won the last 4 runnings. I think it's 2 apiece. But because of what's happened with Gordon Elliott and obviously Sir Gerhard moving, Willie's got 3 of the top 4 in the betting here, which isn't unusual. And we can quite often see a surprise with the Mullins team, can't we, at a big price sneak in?
You can do. And if there was going to be a big price one of Willie Mullins, it might just be the mare Grangie, who... she's 2 from 3 so far. She's getting that mare's allowance. Her one defeat came when she ran at Market Raisin behind Pam Sly's really good mare, Eileen Dover. I don't think there was any disgrace in that. Grangie just wasn't quite quick enough on that occasion. She's perhaps a slightly stronger stayer than the winner, Eileen Dover, that day. But she wasn't disgraced behind a very good one. She's won either side of that, including the Grade 2. Amongst the bigger prices, she would catch my eye a little bit, but it's Sir Gerhard that I'm going to go for as the selection. Formerly, of course, with Gordon Elliott, moved because of what's happened recently to the Willie Mullins team. Rachel Blackmore is taking the ride. Jamie Cobb's obviously been aboard previously. Sir Gerhard, he's won both of his starts so far. First of all at Down Royal, then at Navan in listed company. And that listed race that he won at Navan has often been won by Gordon Elliott with horses that went on to be his real star names going forward. The likes of Envoy Allen, who always had a massive reputation. Sam Crow, when he was the next coming, he won that race. So it's a race that Gordon Elliott has always targeted with a really good horse. And just on the times, I think Sir Gerhard, with the clock performance of his 2 runs, might just be the way to go.
I totally agree. Sir Gerhard all the way for me. And I think it can be another winner on the card for, well, Cheveley Park and also Rachel Blackmore and Willie Mullins. So it's time now to come up with a nap of the day for Tuesday and Wednesday anyway. I'll start with Tuesday.
Yeah, I'm going to go for Metier. I was kind of struggling where to go. The handicap interested me a little bit, the Ultima. And Hugri was tempting, but the price has kind of gone on him in the Boodle. So it's Metier in the Supreme Novices. We've discussed him already, but I think this is a horse that is just a little bit overpriced. I think he's got an awful lot of ability. And my brother Martin, who's been on this show a few times, he was chatting to Harry Fry the other week down at the races, and he was saying that this horse's preparation has gone absolutely A1. They've very much got him where they would want him. And I think Metier in the Supreme is going to have to be my nap.
Okay, well, I'm going to go with Honeysuckle. Again, I've spoken about her. I think hopefully she can make it 11 from 11. And I think it would be a wonderful result in a competitive champion hurdle. On to Wednesday's nap of the day.
Yeah, I'm going to go for a horse in the Johnny Henderson Grand Annual, so the penultimate race, big field handicap. And the horse I'm going to go with is Embittered. Now, I've already done a little bit of money on this race, Emma, because I backed Sully Dock anti-post last week, as close as that, thinking this one might move in the market, but hasn't been declared, won't be running. And at the time, I was thinking I will probably also back Embittered in that race. With Sully Dock out the way, my big price fancy for it, it very much leaves the door ajar for Embittered. And if he wins this, it will be one of my biggest wins of the week, I reckon. Trained by Joseph O'Brien. He's been over fences so far behind some of the top novices in Ireland this season in graded company. He's into a handicap now for mark 146. He finished third behind Sant Ra in the county hurdle last year at the Cheltenham Festival, off this mark for 146 other hurdles, and he would have been a bit closer if not for meeting trouble in running. His style of racing is perfect for the old course at Cheltenham. His jumping has looked good, and he's unexposed. So Embittered is my nap in the Grand Annual on Wednesday.
Okay, well, I'm going to go for a win double rather than one horse, because I think Chacun Pour Soi's sort of best bet of the week, and I wanted to put something with him because I thought piling into something that's a shade of odds on is not very original. So I've gone with Bob Ollinger, who I think has looked a very exciting horse so far in what he's done. I think he's very much the one to beat in the Ballymore. And again, once again, it's that combination of Henry de Bromhead and Rachel Blackmore. So that's our best bets of the week for Tuesday and Wednesday. We'll be back later in the week for our reflections on our reflections back, and also our best bets for the rest of the week. Chris, thank you very much, and enjoy being at Cheltenham tomorrow.
Will do. Thanks, Emma.